Before we start off with today's video, if you guys would like to join the Discord server, link will be in the description below and it will also be in that pinned comment. If it has been more than 7 days, please use the latest video, as that's the one where the links will be working. And of course, I would love to have you on this channel as well, so make sure to subscribe with that bell on so you don't miss any of the videos and shorts and anything else. And yep, let's get right into today's video. Alright guys, quick announcement. I have launched a new channel called Denayan Short Stuff, and as you can see I've got 10 subscribers so far as of the day of filming, and 4 videos uploaded as of the day of filming and actually being released actually. I would like this channel to grow a lot, so if you guys would like to check it out and subscribe, like and even share, that would mean an absolute ton to me if you did that. So a big thank you if you do what I just said. But anyway, leather jacket, quiff, because we're back with a Subaru, except this time it's not a sporty version, it's a crossover. Anyway, this is the Subaru Crosstrek. Now if this looks familiar to you, in Europe and other places it's known as the XV, or it was known as the XV for the previous 2 generations, but it's always been known as the Crosstrek in America. I think it was called the XV Crosstrek in America before at the very beginning, but either way. So they ditched the name completely for the UK and wherever else it is sold, and literally just named it the Crosstrek globally. Or actually, would it be globally? I don't know where it is, but in the UK anyway, it's called the Crosstrek. So it's basically a crossover based on the Impreza hatchback, which we don't get. So this is the closest we can get to the Impreza hatchback. And basically we're just gonna see how the car fares, and that is really it. So let's get right into the review. So, when it comes to the exterior of the XV, it's the Crosstrek. So, because it's literally been released not that long ago, there's no facelift, it's just pre-facelift. Now, the car itself does look very similar to XVs of old. That is kind of Subaru's thing, they do look similar to previous versions of themselves. But either way, it's still restyled and it does look a bit angrier compared to the one before, and you know what, I really don't mind it. The grille is a nice shape, and I kind of like the extremely large honeycomb effect within the grille. And then you got a strip that goes across as well. It's not a light bar, but that kind of works, like a French moustache. Even the rest of the car, it works. I mean, the shapes are fine, it's all in decent placement. I mean, there's nothing to complain about really. The side profile, well, it does look very, 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 very similar to the Impreza hatchback. Just maybe a little bit taller, maybe a little bit longer, but otherwise it looks exactly the same. I mean, it might not even be taller or longer, it might be exactly the same, just jacked up. But anyway, I mean, Subaru's design language has never been, oh, look at this, oh my god, it's amazing, it's a Lamborghini, oh wait, no, it's a Subaru. It's never been that. It's, it's sort of been mild, sort of say. I mean, I don't want to say any bad things because it's a Subaru, and Subaru's my favourite brand, but unfortunately I have to be fair with this, and I just have to say what I think, even despite me loving Subaru to death. But the overall shape, it's not boring, it's got shapes, and it's got, bumpers, the black stuff around the wheel arches, and, it looks similar to before, but it's a bit more changed, like the front and with the rear, which we'll move on to right now. So I quite like the light design. I like the bumper shape as well. Where the fog lights and the reflectors are, it's just a little pod in there with some little grille bit. I don't actually know if they're real or not. And just the rest of it, it's just fine, it's nice enough. I mean, I do like the lights, they kind of do look like facelift lights, but this is just a pre-facelift. So overall, it's not too bad. Obviously nothing that will stand out to you, but it's what it is. I mean, to some people they may not even glance. And I don't want to say this because it's a Subaru. When it comes to the interior, so the first thing we can all see is that humongous screen in the middle, that's portrait like a Volvo. Now this may take some getting used to because obviously portrait screens aren't as popular as landscape yet, but it's still a nice big size. I think they said it was 11.6 inches, I think, I don't know. but the layout is completely fine. I mean, it's high enough as well, and then you've got controls on the side, so it's not all completely touchscreen. When it comes to adjusting the temperature, it's a mix. So you can see you've got the red and the blue on both sides to adjust the temperature, but then you can see the on, off, and the fan speed and the AC in the screen. Now, yes, this is in the screen, and you know how much I don't like those. However, they don't actually disappear. That is the one thing on the screen that actually stays. So even though knobs are better, which they are, at least they don't disappear into the screen and you have to find them within a menu. At least they're there, and the buttons are a decent size as well when you come to press them. And you have got some physical buttons, like I said, so it's not like all in the screen. But if you do want all in the screen, there is this, as you can see. This is literally like dual zone climate control, and yeah, you do it within the screen, just the temperature within the screen if you don't use the buttons. It's kind of like the Kia Niro I reviewed. You know, you can press a button and you can use the little dials there to adjust the temperature, but you can also adjust it for like menus and stuff. So it's kind of a mixed on that one, so really it's up to you. When it comes to performance, this unfortunately is the downfall of this car, but it's not fully Subaru's fault. So you only got one engine choice, but the thing is, in places like America, you got like 3 engine choices. Unfortunately, in Europe, the emissions regulations, they are so strict, and so Subaru only gave this one engine, and it has to be some sort of form of hybrid to keep their emissions down, and they've got their solitaire electric car anyway as well. I do feel like, you know, another hybrid could have been offered, but I don't know if they make one of those. So it's a shame you only got one engine, but you can't fully blame Subaru. You know, they could have introduced more hybrids, you know, being partnered with Toyota and all that. But anyway, it is a 2-litre boxer 4-cylinder. That means the pistons are, you know, going this way like that. So it has a mild hybrid, and I do mean mild. You won't get it for long. It'll be on electric power for a tiny bit. That's what reviews say anyway. So 134 horsepower and the same amount in torque. Now, unfortunately, it's, when reading reviews, they say it's about 14 horsepower down on the previous version, which I think had the same powertrain. So it's like, okay, why have you gone backwards? Why have you made it slower? Maybe it's for efficiency, I don't know. But it is all-wheel drive, being a Subaru, you can't really turn that off. Weight is 1,597 kilograms, and the gearbox is a CVT automatic. So when you put your foot down, it will rev all the way, you know, near the red line, which is, you know, quite high. So it is a droney sound when you're putting your foot down, which is, you know, not pleasant for some people. Some people, they don't mind, but I'm just saying. Now, there's only 2 trim levels you get. I don't know why I held up 4 fingers. There's 2 trim levels for this car. The top one gets some paddles behind the steering wheel, and you can simulate about 7 or 8 gears or so. But either way, it's still a CVT gearbox. 0 to 60 is 10.8 seconds, and the top speed is 123 miles an hour. And reading reviews of this car, yeah, I've read that, you know, it's slower than a lot of its rivals, so that doesn't help. I mean, it'd be a little bit faster if it had the extra 14 horsepower and an extra little bit of torque back, but unfortunately, it's gone. And you don't get that much MPG anyway, because, you know, Boxers are quite thirsty. And it is a 2-litre, which isn't a tiny engine, you know, compared to other cars, you know, which like 1.5, 1.4, 1.3, 1.6, 1 litre, etc. Or, yeah, exactly, blah, blah, blah. So when reading reviews, I've seen that MPG is less than 40, which isn't great. So, yeah, but nothing we can do about that. When it comes to practicality, so the boot is 315 litres big. Now, unfortunately for this class of car, it's not the biggest, and again, it's down compared to its predecessor. Like, why? I actually don't know how many litres they shaved off. But anyway, unfortunately it is small compared to rivals. But, you know, it's not the smallest thing in the world, you know, it's still, you know, long enough, and, you know, it's a nice square shape. It's just a shame that, you know, it's a bit on the small side, and it's smaller than its predecessor. Now, when it comes to the rear seats, legroom was pretty much okay for any tall passengers, so they should be fine on that matter. However, when it comes to the headroom, they may struggle a bit. They may touch the ceiling if they are above 6 foot, so that is just something to know. It's a mixed bag back there, but overall, you know, people like kids, me, you know, it shouldn't be too bad at all. When it comes to the handling and the comfort, we'll start with the comfort first. Unfortunately, I've read reviews that say the ride is a little bit harsh. One says the ride is actually decent, but I've read quite a few that says it's a bit harsh. So it's not harsh as in uncomfortable like a Ferrari would be in London over speed humps. I'm not saying that, but it is harsh compared to being comfortable. But overall, yes, it's harsh and it's not really the greatest thing in the world for it to be that. At least it's not worse. It could be a lot worse, trust me. It really could be. So yeah, we'll have to go on that with that. And then handling as well, that was actually pretty decent as well. So steering was direct enough and it had just about enough speed with response. Body lean was controlled to a certain extent as well, and it was alright through the corners. And because you had all-wheel drive, there was always going to be grip anyway. So in things like the wet, there's definitely going to be plenty of grip. Obviously there's not going to be Jeremy Clarkson style, but that's not what we expect from one of these. And then when it comes to off-road, it is taller than your average hatchback and it has got permanent all-wheel drive. So when you go off-road, it's no Land Rover Discovery, but it's still very decent off-road because it's a Subaru, so it has a good four-wheel drive system, and it's got higher ground clearance, and it's pretty rugged. It would do pretty well on farm tracks and just other places that a bit Brittany. When it comes to anything else, there is absolutely nothing, so we shall move on, unless I can think of something, which I don't think I can, because I said that about the name, I said that different engines, America. Yeah, I got nothing for you, and I've said it's based on an Impreza hatchback. So what is the verdict? So it has a modest exterior with a decent interior layout, and you can see things pretty well, so it's alright on that matter. Legroom was good in the back. The ability to go off-road is a nice touch if you want it, and it does have decent handling. However, the cons are the one engine choice. Now it's in brackets because it's not fully Subaru's fault. European legislations, restrict it. So if they didn't exist, if they were like America, we'd probably have another engine or all the engines that America got, or if there's any more that exist. Or if they were just slightly less strict, then maybe another hybrid that we could go for as well, but oh well. The CVT does whine under acceleration, but it doesn't matter to some people and it matters to some people, so it's up to you. So if you don't mind it, then you don't have to consider it a con. You don't even have to consider the one engine choice as a con, really. The boot is small. It's not the worst. I mean, you can use it, it's small for its class and it's less than its predecessor somehow. The rear headroom was a bit on the tight side, which was a shame, but it shouldn't be the worst thing on the planet, and the ride was slightly rough. I put this in con because I've read reviews that it never actually settles down, and it's noticeable, and it's not rough in the way that it's uncomfortable, but it's there and people mention it, so unfortunately it's not comfortable as it could be. But anyway, that does conclude my review of the Subaru, XV again, Crosstrek. If you want me to review a car, you can let me know in the comments below, and even on the Discord server. And of course, if you don't mind, with my other YouTube channel, Denayan Short Stuff, that would mean a lot to me. But anyway, I'll see you guys in next week's video. Peace.